What if I told you that every single word you speak holds within it the potential to transform your reality? That the sentences you whisper, the affirmations you repeat, even the casual phrases you let slip into the air, are not just sounds, they are keys. Each word is like a finely crafted key, capable of opening a door to a new experience, a new vibration, a new dimension of your life. Has this ever happened to you, when something you declared with absolute certainty seemed to shape events around you? It might have felt like coincidence, but what if it wasn't? What if your words have always been the hidden architecture of your destiny? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Now, imagine for a moment that among all the keys you hold, there exists one master key, one phrase so powerful, so luminous, that it has the ability to dissolve the invisible walls of fear, doubt, and limitation that surround you. This is not poetic exaggeration, nor the kind of metaphor meant only for daydreaming. Ancient traditions, from the wisdom of the Sumerians to the chants of shamans and the sacred mantras of the East, have long taught that language is not simply communication, it is creation. Words are the chisels of reality, carving matter out of the unseen fabric of existence. Think about it. When spoken with full awareness, words do not merely describe life, they command it. They vibrate at frequencies that communicate directly with what some call the quantum field, what others know as the divine matrix, or the very consciousness of the universe itself. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. This is not about empty affirmations repeated like a parrot. No, the true magic of words, especially of the phrase we are about to unveil, lies not in sound, but in state. It's about the consciousness behind the voice, the intention behind the declaration, the heart that fuels each syllable. Imagine planting a seed. If the soil is barren, the seed withers. If you scatter it carelessly, it barely takes root. But if the soil is fertile, watered with love and illuminated with intention, that seed blossoms into life. Your mind is the soil, your heart the water, and your intention the sunlight. This is how the spoken word transforms into creative power. Can you already feel the weight of this truth? And yet, the idea of a single phrase that carries the weight of centuries, that has been whispered in temples, sung in chants, and guarded by mystics throughout time, invites an even deeper curiosity. Why has it been preserved? Why have so many cultures, separated by oceans and generations, reached the same conclusion that there exists a sacred vibration, a combination of words that unlocks the highest potential of human beings? Could it be that language itself was given to us not only to communicate with one another, but to commune with the universe? The mystery grows even more compelling when we realize that modern science is beginning to confirm what ancient sages always knew. Vibration shapes matter. From sound frequencies forming patterns in water to affirmations influencing the chemistry of the body, it seems that every word carries a resonance that leaves its imprint on reality. So if every word matters, imagine what happens when you discover the master phrase, the key of keys that aligns your individual consciousness with the infinite field of creation. Stay with me, because this is where the journey begins. In the coming moments, we will step together into the heart of a revelation that has traveled across centuries, hidden in plain sight, yet waiting for the right moment to reach you. And when it does, you will understand that you are not merely someone searching for miracles. You are, and always have been, the miracle itself. The question is, are you ready to receive the key? If this resonates with you, make sure you're subscribed so you can keep exploring these insights with me. Think for a moment about how much of your life has been shaped by words. Not just the words you've spoken, but also the ones you've heard since childhood, the ones whispered to you in moments of love or shouted in times of anger, the ones you've repeated silently in your mind until they became beliefs. Language has always been more than sound. It has been the invisible architect of your reality. Ancient traditions understood this long before modern science began catching up. They knew that words were not simply tools for storytelling or exchanging ideas, but instruments of creation itself. When they spoke of sacred phrases, chants, or mantras, they were not engaging in superstition. They were engaging with a hidden truth, that vibration gives shape to matter, and that intention woven into sound becomes the blueprint of existence. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble. Every word you speak is like the strike of a chisel. Some words gently shape details, others carve deep lines, but each one leaves an imprint. If the sculptor is careless, the image distorts. But with focus and clarity, the marble transforms into art. In the same way, your words, aligned with your consciousness, are chiseling the form of your life. This is why the ancients guarded their sacred language so carefully, because behind the scenes of ritual and ceremony, they were influencing the very fabric of reality. Modern discoveries in fields like quantum physics and neuroscience are beginning to echo these ancient revelations. Vibrations affect patterns in water. Music shifts human emotions. Affirmations reshape neural pathways. It's no longer just mystical poetry. It's a science of transformation. And yet, even with this knowledge, most people continue to speak unconsciously, scattering their energy in words of doubt, fear, and resignation. The impact is subtle but profound. A mindset built on limitations instead of possibilities, a life scripted not by intention, but by habit. But there is something extraordinary that happens when you change the way you use your words. When you speak from the center of your being, when your declarations carry the energy of presence rather than routine, a doorway opens. Think of it as tuning an instrument. If even one string is off, the entire melody feels dissonant. But when every string vibrates in harmony, this music resonates in the deepest way possible. Your words are those strings, and your awareness is the musician. The phrase we are exploring is not a set of syllables meant to be repeated mechanically, but a conscious invocation, one that requires your full presence, your inner alignment, your decision to embody the truth you are declaring. This is why repeating powerful words without intention leads to nothing. It's like echoing hollow sounds in an empty room. Conscious invocation, however, carries a force that reverberates beyond what the eye can see. It sends a signal into the matrix of the universe, aligning your personal frequency with a greater field of possibilities. The moment you shift from speaking unconsciously to declaring with awareness, you stop being a passive participant in life and step into the role of co-creator. This is not about blind faith. It is about alignment, coherence, and clarity. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this is where the real journey begins. When we uncover how civilizations before us used sound and vibration as tools of creation, when we understand why certain words were kept secret and reserved for initiates, and when we see how modern life can integrate these ancient revelations, something awakens inside us. It is no longer about chasing transformation. It becomes about embodying it. Write in the comments, "This makes sense to me," if you feel this truth resonating within you right now. Think of your mind as a vast field stretching endlessly, waiting to be cultivated. Every thought you plant, there is a seed, and what grows depends on the soil you prepare. If your mind is hardened by doubt, heavy with fear, or scattered by distractions, the seeds of possibility fall without taking root. But when the soil is soft with openness and nourished with clarity, the seeds can sprout. And then comes the water, the heart. Without the flow of emotion, without genuine feeling, no seed can grow. Your words become alive only when your heart pours its essence into them. And finally, there is the light, your intention. It is this light that directs growth, that calls forth the transformation, that guides each seed to become what it was always meant to be. Mind, heart, and intention are not separate. They are three parts of the same creative force, and when aligned, they hold the power to reshape reality itself. This is not poetic symbolism alone. It is a truth now echoed even by science. Experiments have shown how sound frequencies can create intricate patterns in water or sand, forming shapes that seem almost sacred. Our bodies, made mostly of water, respond in similar ways. Words spoken with conviction can calm the nervous system, strengthen resilience, or ignite a sense of purpose. Affirmations repeated with awareness are not just mental exercises. They are vibrations that leave imprints on the cells, on the very energy of the body. Behind the scenes of what we consider ordinary speech, there is an extraordinary impact happening. The sound of your voice, the rhythm of your words, the frequency of your thoughts, all of them create a resonance that shapes how you experience life. And here lies a hidden truth. The magic is not in elaborate rituals or secret formulas, but in consciousness itself. True magic has never been about illusions or tricks. It is about directing awareness with such precision that reality begins to bend in response. When you speak with full presence, your words carry weight far beyond their surface meaning. They vibrate through the unseen fabric of existence, aligning with patterns that already exist in the universe and calling them into form. The ancients called this the science of the word, and they understood that to influence reality, one must first influence the inner state from which words arise. Subscribe now and stay connected to this journey of hidden truths and transformations. Imagine for a moment standing before a mirror. If your reflection appears blurred, you do not try to polish the mirror itself. You clear the surface, adjust the light, align yourself properly. The same is true with creation. If your outer life feels clouded or distorted, the mirror to adjust is within you. Align the mind, the heart, and the intention, and suddenly the reflection changes. It is in that alignment that the phrase of power becomes more than words. It becomes a decree. It becomes a declaration that the universe cannot ignore. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you begin to see how consciousness itself acts as the hidden engine behind every transformation, the journey takes on a new dimension. It is no longer just about repeating affirmations or hoping for change. It becomes about embodying awareness as a living force. When consciousness is present, the smallest word can shake the foundations of limitation, and a single declaration can mark the turning point of an entire life. Put down in the comments, "I'm also on this path," if you feel that alignment of mind, heart, and intention already stirring within you. When we trace the story of words back through time, we discover something fascinating. Humanity has always sensed that sound and vibration hold a hidden truth, a power that goes far beyond mere communication. The Sumerians, among the earliest civilizations recorded, spoke of the me, sacred principles that united divine law with vibrational force. To them, words were not empty declarations. They were channels of creation itself, frequencies that could order chaos and shape existence. It was as though they understood that every syllable was a decision, and each decision left an imprint on the structure of reality. What might appear to us as mythology was, in their experience, a living science of transformation, a way to participate in the unfolding of the cosmos with conscious intent. The Egyptians carried this understanding even further. They revered Thoth, the god of writing and magic, as the architect of worlds, not because of physical strength or weapons, but because of his command of the spoken word. To speak was to generate movement in the unseen, to sculpt energy into form. Imagine what it meant to live in a culture where words were considered sacred tools, where the very act of speaking was treated as an act of creation. Every chant, every prayer, every decree carried a weight that could shift not only personal destiny, but the rhythm of entire kingdoms. Behind the scenes of their temples and rituals, they were not only worshiping gods, but interacting with the underlying fabric of reality through vibration. And then we arrive at the Hebrew tradition, where the concept of debar emerges. Here, words are not abstract signs pointing to ideas. Debar is action, movement, force. When it is said, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light," it is not metaphorical. It is a revelation that sound and intent fuse together to produce. Manifestation. The spoken word is not symbolic. It is causal. It is a direct bridge between the invisible and the visible. This is where language stops being human invention and becomes a reflection of universal law. What you speak from a place of authority and presence does not merely express your reality. It shapes it. The echoes of these teachings stretch into every corner of human history. What they reveal is that words were always seen as more than tools for storytelling. They were instruments for transformation, sacred codes capable of bending the trajectory of events. When we realize this, it changes how we see not only ancient rituals, but also the way we use language in our daily lives. Our conversations, our inner dialogue, the affirmations we repeat, each of them carries potential impact. And the choice is always present. Will we scatter our energy with careless words, or will we align with intention and speak as creators? Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these traditions, while separated by geography and culture, were united by a profound revelation. The universe itself responds to vibration. Whether through the Sumerian Me, the Egyptian reverence for Thoth, or the Hebrew Dabar, we see the same truth expressed in different languages. They all point to the same hidden foundation of reality, that sound, infused with consciousness, is a force of creation. Once you recognize this pattern, you begin to understand that the power has never been reserved for priests or mystics alone. It has always been within reach, waiting for awareness, waiting for alignment, waiting for you. Write in the comments, "I speak with intention," if you feel this truth awakening something within you right now. When we step into the teachings of Pythagoras, we encounter a revelation that blends mathematics, music, and spirituality into one seamless vision of existence. He taught that the cosmos itself was not random, but organized like a grand symphony, each planet, each star, each living being vibrating in resonance with universal patterns. Numbers were not just symbols for calculation. They were living archetypes, containers of sacred meaning that could tune reality. And just as an instrument can be out of tune, so too could a life drift into disharmony if it was not aligned with the deeper order of the universe. To bring oneself back into resonance required not only knowledge, but also sound sacred words that could recalibrate the energy of a person the way a musician tunes the strings of a harp. Imagine what it means to realize that your voice, your words, your very breath can bring you back into alignment with the hidden harmony of the cosmos. From this understanding emerges the ancient practice of mantras, sacred sounds that span across cultures and continents, yet all point to the same underlying truth. Whether chanted in Sanskrit, whispered in Hebrew, sung in indigenous ceremonies, or carried through the chants of monks, these mantras were never mere repetitions. They were codes, vibrational formulas designed to interact with the human body and its energy fields. Each tone, each syllable carried a frequency that spoke not only to the conscious mind, but to the deepest layers of being. Behind the scenes, something extraordinary occurs when these sounds are repeated with focus. The body relaxes, the mind clears, and the energy begins to flow with greater freedom, as if the words themselves unlock pathways long forgotten. But here is the hidden truth often overlooked. It is not the sheer quantity of words spoken that carries the transformative impact. It is the intention that breathes life into them. A mantra repeated mindlessly is like striking a drum without rhythm. The sound exists, but it lacks coherence. Yet when intention fuses with vibration, the effect multiplies. Intention acts like the conductor of an orchestra, guiding each note, each tone into harmony. This is why some chants feel alive, resonating deep within, while others feel hollow. It is not the word itself, but the energy with which it is released. Think about it in terms of mindset. How many times have you spoken to yourself internally with doubt or fear, repeating negative affirmations without even noticing? Each of those phrases, even if unconscious, carries intention. They sow seeds in the soil of your mind, shaping the decisions you make and the journey you follow. But when you shift your awareness and infuse your words with clarity and vision, you stop scattering energy in random directions and begin to focus it like a beam of light. That is when transformation begins, not because you said something 100 times, but because you said it once with absolute presence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when we follow the thread from Pythagoras to the practice of mantras and the understanding of intention, we begin to see that all traditions are speaking of the same universal law. Words are more than sounds. They are frequencies guided by consciousness, and consciousness is the true key. When aligned, this key does not just open one door, it can unlock entire pathways of possibility. Write in the comments, "I choose harmony," if you feel this understanding resonating within your own journey right now. When words emerge from a heart that is clear and undivided, something extraordinary happens. They stop being mere expressions and begin to carry the resonance of truth. A pure heart acts like an amplifier, magnifying the frequency of intention so that what is spoken does not fade away into the air, but reverberates across dimensions. This is why throughout history, the voices of prophets, sages, and visionaries have had such impact. Their words did not come from scattered thought or shallow desire, but from the deep alignment of mind, heart, and spirit. In that alignment, each declaration becomes a vibration so strong that it can outlive the person who spoke it, echoing through generations, as if carved into the invisible structure of time itself. The phrase we are exploring belongs to this lineage of ancient wisdom. It is not a modern invention, not a passing trend dressed up in mystical clothing, but a distillation of centuries of spiritual knowledge and practice. From temples hidden in the sands to chants whispered in the mountains. From sacred scrolls to oral traditions guarded by elders, this wisdom has survived because it touches the core of human existence. It is not limited by culture or religion. It is a universal current that reappears wherever humans seek to understand the mysteries of creation. Think of it as a hidden thread weaving through civilizations, quietly reminding us that words are not simply vehicles for ideas, but instruments of power, capable of altering the fabric of reality itself. When spoken with awareness, sacred words have the ability to move invisible structures, shifting the unseen architecture that shapes the visible world. Just as wind can sculpt landscapes over centuries, so too can decrees sculpt the conditions of life. These are not random utterances, but intentional codes that interact with subtle layers of existence, patterns of energy, fields of vibration, unseen laws that quietly govern outcomes. Behind the scenes of what appears as ordinary life, every word you speak is interacting with these structures, either reinforcing the old or opening the way for the new. For more content like this, subscribe and let's keep uncovering these revelations together. Consider how often you might have felt trapped in repeating cycles, the same struggles surfacing again and again despite your efforts to change. It may not simply be circumstance. It may be that the invisible framework around you has not been rearranged. Sacred decrees exist precisely for this reason, to break old patterns and establish new ones. They are like chisels that crack the rigid walls of limitation, creating openings where fresh energy can flow. And when the decree is spoken from a pure heart, its impact multiplies. The vibration does not get diluted by doubt or contradiction. It travels directly into the unseen, carrying the clarity of its origin. This is the hidden truth that many ancient traditions safeguarded, that the real architecture of life is not built only by action in the physical world, but also by the words and vibrations that precede action. To understand this is to realize that transformation begins in the unseen, long before it manifests visibly. It is to recognize that when you choose words with awareness, you are making decisions not just for your present moment, but for the reality you are stepping into. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because what follows reveals why this ancient phrase is not only powerful, but also carefully preserved, passed down as a sacred inheritance, meant to awaken those ready to receive it. Its survival through centuries is not accidental. It is evidence of its timeless relevance and its ability to bring order to chaos whenever humanity has needed it most. Write in the comments, "I speak from alignment," if you feel the weight of this truth awakening within you. When the phrase is finally revealed, with the power of God's divine presence in me, I am that I am, it carries with it not only sound, but a living current of meaning. These words are not ordinary. They are a direct invocation of the eternal. They act as a bridge between the human self, often fragmented by fear and doubt, and the universal self, which knows no separation. To say, "I am that I am," is to step into the recognition that your essence is not limited to a single body or identity, but is part of the infinite source that sustains all creation. It is a reminder that you are not a drop isolated from the ocean. You are the ocean expressing itself as a drop. And when spoken with conviction, this phrase dissolves the illusion of distance between the individual and the divine. Think about what happens inside you when you declare those words. It is not only a statement of existence, but an activation of eternal nature. The I am is the pulse of pure being, the vibration that has existed before time itself. When you align with it, you are not adding something new. You are remembering something ancient, something already present within you. It is a shift in mindset that alters how you see yourself and how you interact with the world. Instead of approaching life as someone who lacks and must seek, you stand in the awareness of being already connected, already whole, already part of the creative intelligence that shapes reality. This is a revelation that changes not just what you say, but how you live. And then there is the rhythm of repetition. Each time the phrase is spoken, it reorganizes your energy like a tuning fork, bringing scattered vibrations back into harmony. The ancient teachers understood the power of repetition, not as empty ritual, but as reinforcement, a way to etch a new pattern into the subtle fabric of being. Spoken once, the words awaken the force within you. Spoken again, they focus it, gathering momentum. Spoken a third time, they release it fully, sending it forth into the invisible layers of existence where creation begins. This threefold invocation is like striking a sacred drum. The first beat awakens, the second aligns, and the third carries the vibration outward into the universe. Behind the scenes of this practice, something remarkable is happening. The energy you release does not simply vanish. It moves into the quantum field, the invisible matrix where thoughts and vibrations take form before they manifest. Every repetition strengthens the signal, clearing away interference, dissolving limiting patterns, and opening pathways for new possibilities to enter your life. It is like knocking on a hidden door, not once, but 3 times, until it swings open to reveal what has always been waiting for you. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you understand why this phrase begins with the invocation of divine presence, you realize it is designed to bypass the ego entirely. It is not your limited self asking or begging. It is the universal self speaking through you, declaring truth into form. And when that happens, the universe does not resist. It responds, because it is simply recognizing itself in your words. Write in the comments, I am aligned, if you feel the resonance of these words, awakening something within you. When the phrase begins with the invocation of divine presence, it immediately lifts your intention beyond the narrow frame of ego. The small self, with its fears and insecurities, no longer directs the request. Instead, the words are anchored in the highest creative presence, the part of you that has never been touched by doubt or separation. This is why the phrase carries such force. It does not ask from a place of lack. It speaks from fullness. It does not beg for outcomes. It declares truth as already aligned with the greater intelligence of the universe. In this state, you are not a seeker knocking at a closed door. You are the door itself, opening to reveal what has always been within. And then comes the unfolding of 3 essential steps: decree, declare, and affirm. A decree is not a suggestion or a wish. It is an order issued into the fabric of reality. Like a sovereign signing a law that reshapes the kingdom, your decree imprints a command upon the field of possibilities. To declare is to give voice to that command, to announce it in a way that resonates not only within you, but reverberates into the unseen. It is the moment you step out of silence and let the universe witness your certainty. Affirmation is the act of sealing it within your own consciousness, of holding the vibration steady so it does not dissipate. It is the inner agreement to sustain what you have spoken until it manifests in form. These 3 stages are not just linguistic variations. They are a process of transformation, a path that takes a hidden intention and crystallizes it into lived reality. Don't miss the next steps in this path. Subscribe and continue walking this journey with me. Behind the scenes of this process lies a hidden truth that changes everything. Words form contracts. Every time you say, I am, you are not simply identifying yourself. You are entering into an energetic agreement with the universe. Each phrase spoken in this way carries the weight of a promise, a binding vibration that organizes circumstances and aligns patterns to fulfill what has been declared. This is why the ancients treated sacred words with reverence, guarding them from casual use. They understood that careless speech could create unintended bonds, while conscious declarations could unlock doors to extraordinary transformation. Think of how powerful this realization is for your mindset. It means that nothing you say with true awareness is ever wasted. Your declarations echo, your affirmations take root, your decrees ripple outward, shaping the invisible scaffolding upon which your life unfolds. And it also means that the decisions you make about what to speak and how to speak it are not minor, they are acts of creation. Every sentence can either reinforce old limitations or carve a path toward new horizons. This is not just philosophy. It is a hidden truth that reveals the impact of your voice as a creative force. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you recognize that every spoken word is a contract of energy, the journey shifts. It is no longer about speaking casually or waiting passively. It becomes about choosing deliberately, aligning completely, and speaking as though you already embody the reality you desire. And in that shift, the I am becomes more than affirmation. It becomes embodiment. Write in the comments, I am my word, if you feel the weight of this truth settling into your awareness. Alignment is the hidden key that unlocks everything. You can speak the most powerful words, even repeat the sacred phrase itself. But if your daily actions, thoughts, and emotions contradict what you have declared, the vibration breaks apart. It is like trying to sail with the wind at your back, while dragging an anchor through the water. Forward motion becomes impossible. For words to truly move energy into form, they must be supported by the inner architecture of belief and the outer flow of action. When your mindset, decisions, and behaviors echo the truth of your declaration, reality responds with clarity. Without alignment, words scatter. With alignment, they concentrate into a force that cannot be ignored. This is why speaking in doubt is so dangerous to the process. When you invoke sacred words from a place of fear, resignation, or disbelief, the frequency gets distorted. It's as though the energy you release is immediately tangled in a web of contradiction. You may say, I am abundance, but if, behind the scenes, you still carry the inner voice that whispers scarcity, you are creating interference in your own signal. The decree cannot reach its full strength because it is being diluted by hesitation. This is not punishment from the universe. It is simply law. Energy cannot hold two opposing vibrations with equal intensity. One must dominate, and too often it is doubt that speaks louder than faith. Here is the hidden truth. Universal laws are always at work, whether you are aware of them or not. The law of attraction gathers to you the essence of what you hold within. The law of correspondence reflects your inner state into the outer world. The law of cause and effect ensures that every vibration you release finds its echo. These are not mystical metaphors. They are patterns that operate with precision, like gravity or magnetism. When you decree from alignment, the laws collaborate, assembling the conditions, encounters, and opportunities that match your vibration. When you decree with doubt, those same laws assemble confusion, delay, and fragmented outcomes. Think of it like planting a seed in fertile soil. If you nourish it with consistent care, sunlight, water, attention, it grows in harmony with its nature. But if you alternate between feeding it and poisoning it, growth becomes impossible. The soil of your life is the same. It requires coherence. Your words are seeds, your emotions the water, your mindset the light. When these elements align, creation is not only possible, it is inevitable. The impact of your decree is measured by the strength of the alignment behind it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because alignment does not stop with thoughts and feelings alone. It extends into the way you live, the choices you make, the stories you tell yourself each day. To walk in alignment with your word is to embody the reality you have spoken, even before it appears in visible form. It is to live as though the hidden truth you declared has already taken root, shaping the world quietly but powerfully behind the scenes. And when you live that way, the universal laws have no choice but to mirror it back to you. Write in the comments, "I choose alignment," if this resonates with the journey you're walking right now. Living as if it is already real is perhaps one of the most profound shifts a person can make. Mystics throughout history insisted on this principle because they understood that creation does not begin when something appears to the eyes. It begins when it is embodied within. To carry yourself as though the reality you long for has already taken form is not self-deception. It is alignment with a deeper truth. Every decision, every gesture, every thought becomes a rehearsal of the life you are stepping into. And in that rehearsal, you are no longer waiting for change. You are becoming it. The body responds, the mind adjusts, and energy organizes itself to reflect the frequency you are already living. This is why mystics could walk with such quiet certainty. They weren't hoping for transformation. They were embodying it. But such embodiment requires patience, and patience is not passive waiting. It is active trust, the willingness to allow time to orchestrate the unseen details you cannot yet see. Time, in this sense, is not an enemy, but a collaborator. It arranges encounters, opens pathways, and dissolves obstacles so that what you have spoken may arrive in a way that is whole, complete, and in harmony with the greater picture of your life. To rush the process, to demand immediate results, is like pulling on the petals of a flower, trying to force it to bloom. True manifestation respects rhythm. It knows that every desire has its perfect moment of unfolding, and forcing it too soon can distort the very gift you've asked for. This rhythm is not just cosmic, it is personal. Your body, your mind, your emotions all have cycles, and when the phrase of power is woven into those cycles, its energy multiplies. Repetition is not about redundancy. It is about resonance. Just as a drumbeat sets the tempo for a dance, consistent use of the phrase sets the tempo for your reality. Some people feel the strength of invoking it at dawn, when the world is quiet and the day has not yet been written. Others sense its power at night, when the conscious mind drifts into rest and the subconscious remains open. What matters is not the specific time, but the rhythm you establish, the way the phrase becomes part of the pulse of your life. Behind the scenes, this rhythm creates coherence. Each repetition builds upon the last, layering intention, amplifying vibration. Until the phrase is no longer something you say, it becomes part of who you are. Imagine it like a heartbeat. You do not command your heart to beat. It simply does, carrying life through your veins. In the same way, when the phrase is lived with rhythm and consistency, it begins to move through you naturally, pulsing as a constant reminder of the reality you are embodying. It transforms from practice into presence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because the alignment of embodiment, patience, and rhythm reveals a hidden truth. Manifestation is not about forcing reality to bend to your will, but about synchronizing yourself with the greater flow of creation. It is about learning to walk in harmony with the unseen currents that are already guiding you. And when you step into that harmony, your words no longer struggle to take shape. They bloom effortlessly in their own perfect season. Write in the comments, "I live as if it is done," if this perspective resonates with the journey you are choosing to embody. When you weave the phrase into the natural rhythm of your life, it becomes more than a practice. It becomes a way of being. Invoking it at dawn, when silence still lingers in the air, and the mind has not yet been flooded with noise, sets the tone for the entire day. It is like tuning your inner instrument before playing the music of your life. At night, as the body surrenders to rest and the subconscious remains receptive, the phrase sinks deeper, traveling through layers unseen, shaping the dream space and planting seeds that continue to grow even while you sleep. These moments are not chosen by chance. They are thresholds, transitions where the mind is most open and the energy flows without resistance. By integrating the phrase into such natural cycles, you allow it to harmonize with the pulse of existence itself. But for this current of creation to move freely, the inner channels must be cleared. Negativity, resentment, and unhealed wounds act like debris in a river, slowing the flow and distorting the reflection of what you desire. Holding on to grudges or replaying old stories of failure is like planting seeds in polluted soil. They may sprout, but their growth will be twisted, fragile, and incomplete. To release is not to forget. It is to free your energy from the weight of what no longer serves you. Gratitude becomes a powerful tool here because it cleans the channel with gentle persistence, shifting attention away from what has hurt and back toward what nourishes. Forgiveness, too, becomes more than a moral choice. It is a vibrational decision, a conscious act of clearing the pathways so the phrase can travel without obstruction into the field of creation. And when the channels are open, something remarkable begins to happen. The small self-thee, part of you that clings to identity, fear, and control slowly dissolves. You stop speaking as an isolated individual and begin to feel yourself as a vessel, a channel through which universal power flows. This is not about losing who you are. It is about expanding who you are beyond the limits of ego. In this space, your words are no longer requests, but currents of the infinite expressing themselves through you. The I that speaks is not separate from the source. It is the source acknowledging itself. Manifestation then stops feeling like effort and becomes a natural unfolding because the river no longer doubts the ocean it flows into. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because when you experience yourself as that channel, the phrase ceases to be just a spiritual exercise and becomes an act of harmony with the whole. It is not merely about attracting personal desires, but about aligning with a creative force that is always at work, shaping not just your journey, but the greater tapestry of life itself. In that alignment, your words carry a different weight, a different clarity. They stop being bound by fear and start vibrating with truth. Write in the comments, "I am a clear channel," if you feel the resonance of this truth flowing within you. Living coherently means carrying the vibration of the phrase beyond moments of practice and into the fabric of your everyday life. It is easy to speak powerful words in silence, but their true force is tested in the middle of ordinary decisions. How you respond when stress arises, how you treat others when no one is watching, how you align your choices with the truth you have declared. When the phrase becomes a compass guiding not just your inner state but your actions, it gains a strength that no contradiction can dilute. This coherence is what transforms spoken intention into lived reality, because the universe responds not only to what you say, but also to what you embody. It is the consistency between declaration and behavior that signals true alignment. To sustain that coherence, it helps to build what could be called a sacred inner temple. This temple is not made of stone or wood. It is carved from silence, presence, and awareness. Before you speak the phrase, take a moment to step into this temple within yourself. Breathe deeply, quiet the restless noise of the mind, and feel the stillness that opens when you turn inward. In that space, your words are no longer scattered thoughts. They become offerings. Every syllable rises like incense, carrying your intention into realms unseen. Preparing yourself in this way is not a ritual of superstition, but an act of respect for the power you are about to invoke. It signals to your own consciousness that what you are doing is sacred, and that recognition alone heightens the energy of your words. When you finally speak, enter full presence. Do not rush. Do not recite mechanically. Allow each word to vibrate through your body as if it were a drum carrying sound into the depths of your being. Feel it in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the subtle currents of energy that move within you. Speaking from presence transforms the phrase from sound into resonance. It is no longer something outside of you. It becomes an expression of what is already alive within. The mind listens, the body responds, and the field around you shifts. This is the moment when intention crystallizes into vibration, and vibration begins to shape reality. Now, I Want to go even deeper into this topic because presence itself holds a hidden truth that most overlook. When you are fully present, the past loses its grip and the future stops pressing against you. You become timeless, and in that timelessness, the phrase does not project into what will be. It declares what already is. That shift changes everything. You are no longer asking reality to transform. You are recognizing that transformation is already unfolding through you. The impact of this realization reaches far beyond words. It alters the way you move, the way you decide, the way you perceive your journey. Coherence, the inner temple, and presence together form a triad that gives the phrase its true strength. Write in the comments, "I live from presence," if you feel this way of embodying the phrase, awakening something powerful within you. When you give life to the phrase with emotion and imagery, it stops being a mere arrangement of words and becomes an experience. Emotion is the fuel, the fire that charges every syllable with vitality. Without it, words remain flat, like a song played without rhythm. But when spoken with feeling, whether it's joy, gratitude, or a deep sense of certainty, the vibration ignites and carries power far beyond the moment. Imagination then steps in as the navigator. It provides direction, painting vivid pictures of the reality you are calling into existence. Together, emotion and imagery transform the phrase into a living force, one that not only resonates inside you, but also shapes the field around you. Think of how the mind responds to images. When you imagine with intensity, your body reacts as though it is already real. The heartbeat quickens, the senses awaken, the energy shifts. Behind the scenes, the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. This is the hidden truth the mystics always knew. The more complete your inner picture, the faster your outer reality begins to align. It is not fantasy, it is rehearsal. And the universe, responding to the clarity of your vibration, organizes itself around the story you are choosing to embody. Yet this power can only unfold if contradictions are removed. You cannot affirm abundance while speaking of scarcity, declare peace while feeding conflict, or call for love while nurturing resentment. These contradictions scatter energy, sending mixed signals that dilute your decree. Alignment means allowing your daily decisions, behaviors, and inner dialogue to flow in the same direction as your declaration. It does not require perfection. It requires consistency. Each time you notice yourself veering away from what you have invoked, gently return to coherence, like a musician retuning an instrument. Over time, the melody of your life begins to play without discord, and your words gain the strength of unwavering truth. Still, even with alignment, another obstacle often appears: the temptation to cling. Many people sabotage their manifestations not because they lack faith, but because they cannot release control. They speak the phrase, plant the seed, but then dig it up daily with anxiety, checking to see if it has grown. Creative detachment is the antidote. It is not indifference, but trust. It is the recognition that once the decree has been made, the universe has already begun its work, often behind the scenes, arranging connections, dissolving barriers, and preparing the path. To detach is to allow that process to unfold without interference. It is a decision to step out of desperation and into trust, knowing that the forces you have called upon are precise and unfailing. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when emotion, imagery, coherence, and detachment converge, something extraordinary happens. The phrase stops being a practice you do and becomes a state you inhabit. You are no longer speaking toward a future you hope to see. You are embodying a hidden truth that already exists, and in that embodiment, the line between imagination and manifestation dissolves. Write in the comments, "I release and trust," if you feel this understanding resonating with the way you want to walk your journey. Gratitude is the closing note that seals the vibration, the silent confirmation that the seed you planted has already taken root. When you end your invocation with thankfulness, you are not waiting for proof. You are declaring that proof already exists, even if it has not yet entered your visible world. Gratitude bends time because it aligns you with the outcome before it appears, and in doing so, it accelerates its arrival. It is a mindset shift that transforms desire into certainty, transforming what once felt distant into something inevitable. To live in gratitude is to walk each day as though the universe has already answered, because in truth, it has. The hidden work often unfolds behind the scenes, adjusting circumstances and synchronizing events to bring your decree into perfect alignment. But even more powerful than gratitude spoken at the end of a practice is gratitude embodied throughout the day. It becomes a lens through which you see the world differently. Every conversation, every challenge, every unexpected turn is no longer seen as random, but as part of the unfolding of your declaration. Gratitude trains the heart to recognize blessings not only in what has arrived, but also in what is forming, even if unseen. This creates a vibrational state where resistance dissolves, because thankfulness cannot coexist with fear. When you live in that energy, your words stop echoing in uncertainty. They ring with authority, carried by the trust that everything you need is already making its way to you. Living as a conscious creator means carrying this awareness beyond specific moments of practice. The phrase does not belong only to meditation, rituals, or whispered affirmations. It belongs to your entire journey. It is how you wake up in the morning, how you walk through decisions, how you respond when life tests your patience. It becomes less about saying, I am, and more about living, I am. This is where the hidden truth of the practice reveals itself. The greatest power is not in repetition, but in embodiment. You are not simply affirming your reality. You are embodying it, becoming the living proof of your own decree. This shift changes the impact of everything you do. Each step becomes a conscious act, each word a deliberate vibration, each choice a thread woven into the larger tapestry of creation. You begin to notice how even small actions carry significance, how even subtle thoughts ripple outward with influence. The phrase is no longer just a key to open doors. It becomes the very way you walk through them. And as this awareness deepens, life itself begins to mirror your coherence. Encounters arrive with precision, opportunities align with your intentions, and even challenges become part of the transformation, reshaping you into greater alignment with what you have declared. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because living as a conscious creator invites us to explore not only the power of words, but the responsibility they carry. To embody the phrase is to acknowledge that nothing is neutral, that every vibration contributes to the reality we collectively shape. And when you begin to live with that level of awareness, the journey itself becomes sacred, a daily unfolding of revelations that remind you of who you truly are. Write in the comments, I live as a creator, if this truth resonates with how you want to shape your path from this moment forward. If you've journeyed with me all the way to this point, it tells me something within these words resonated with you. That's why I'd love for you to stay connected here, subscribe, so you don't miss the next steps in this path we're exploring together. And if you truly felt the flow of this message, leave a comment below with the phrase, I'm with you until the end. It's always powerful to see how many of us are walking this same journey side by side. A like on this video is another way of keeping that energy alive, almost like a silent nod saying, yes, this speaks to me. And before you go, there's a video right here that complements everything we've uncovered today. Click and continue with me over there. We'll keep unraveling these truths together.